Drop them. Hello, hello.
Hi.
I love that we both got the blue theme.
We did, and we didn't even plan it. I love it.
We shared a brain.
We do. We do. It's because we love pageants. We share a brain.
That is so true. So I have given a brief introduction, but can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi. My name is Trinity Pearson. I am the reigning Mrs. Queen of the World USA. I won this title in January, and it has been an amazing whirlwind getting ready for the international pageant in less than 3 weeks now in New York City for Mrs. Queen of the World. And I live in Tennessee with my husband and my 2 teenage daughters, and we have a couple of fur babies as well. And that is just a little bit about me, and I am thrilled and just honored to be representing the USA at this amazing international pageant.
So you are not a newbie
No.
to the pageant world.
No.
Tell me where your pageant journey began.
Wow. Okay, so we got to go way back. Way back. So let's do that. So, like most of us in pageantry, I think I remember watching like Miss America and Miss USA growing up and just begging my parents to let me be a part of that as little as probably 7, 8 years old, watching it on TV. And they held me off. They kept saying, nope, because we didn't really know anything about that. They held me off until I was 17. And I have a 17-year-old daughter. I have 2 daughters. They're 19 and 17. So I have a 17-year-old daughter, so I kind of understand why I wore them down at that age. But at 17, they let me enter my first pageant. So I jumped in and entered the pageant system that then was known as America's Junior Miss, and I think it's Distinguished Young Woman now. And I jumped in and I won the local title and went on to state and was basically completely bitten by the pageant bug at that point in time. And so that's what got me started. And then all through college, I competed in the Miss America system and competed in the local Tennessee prelims here. It took me 13 prelims before I ever made it to the stage of Miss Tennessee. I was the runner-up queen. I would always place like first or second runner-up. I always did really well in talent because I love to sing. That's really what got me started in pageantry at that age anyway. I just wanted to get on stage and sing. So it was a great outlet to do that. So I love to sing. The swimsuit thing came really easy to me in my teens and early 20s, right? So I always did well there, but I always fell short in interview. And it took me a long time to really get comfortable with myself and be able to just do well in interview. So it took me 13 prelims. So if anybody's watching and they feel like they're the runner-up queen, I'm your girl. I understand, okay? I understand. So, but here's the thing. I entered 13 prelims and I was continuously winning scholarship money every weekend that I competed because I was getting money as first and second runner-up. So I paid for most of my undergraduate bachelor's degree and most of my master's in business administration through runner-up queen scholarships. So I kind of won anyway. So
there you go.
Yeah, yes. So I've always been a huge advocate for pageantry for many reasons, but that's one of them as well because it did so much for me as far as the skills that I learned during that time, becoming the runner-up queen, and then finally breaking that streak and getting to Miss Tennessee. And I did not win the title, but I placed, and that was enough for me at that point because I'd won so much money and went on to another phase of life of getting married and having children. And I had no idea that this whole world of Mrs. Pageantry existed, right? I had no idea. But so you fast forward about 15 years and I had gone through a significant health crisis in my early 30s of lots of different diagnoses. I had a cancer diagnosis, I had postpartum depression, I had chronic illness, I had all kinds of things going on. And when I was finally released from my oncologist, 5 years later after that diagnosis, I looked in the mirror and I didn't really recognize myself anymore. But I felt like this huge weight had been lifted, that I had been freed, that I had made it through. The postpartum depression was behind me. The chronic illness illness was behind me. So I knew that I was healthy again, but I did not recognize myself anymore. And there was this little voice in my head saying, maybe you should look into pageants. But I didn't know that they existed for us. So I just started looking for self-development opportunities in my 30s and not even really looking for pageantry because, again, I didn't know. And the Mrs. Tennessee pageant popped up. And that's where my journey in Mrs. Pageantry began, and that was in 2013. So I took a long break, but I was still involved in pageants as far as judging. I was a director for a while, a backstage helper. Like, I've pretty much done it all because I love pageants. It's always been my sport, my thing. I love everything about it. So that's really where I got started in Mrs. Pageantry, and it has helped me to find myself again and continue developing all of those skills that I developed, which helped me in my corporate career. And then as I became a stay-at-home mom and all of my side businesses that I've done over the years, oops, lost an earring. Hey, this is real life. You know, I'll just take the other one off too.
I love that. Just keep going.
I know. So that's really where my Mrs. Pageantry journey started. And then entered the Mrs. Tennessee pageant 4 times before I won. And then became a director at a different time throughout that, when my husband helped me with that, because he has loved watching me get involved in pageants and seeing that, not necessarily competitive side, but just that maybe it is the competitive side coming out. I'm not really sure how to describe it. But he's loved seeing that, and he has been a part of it like every step of the way, saying yes to every dress and every directorship and every pageant and whatever it's been that I've been able to find in pageantry. And when I found Queen of the World, I knew that it was the system for me. I had talked to the director, Alice Giannetta, a few years ago and wanted to jump in, but it just wasn't the right time with teenage daughters and life at the time. And when 2024 rolled around, I knew that it just, with a series of events, I knew that it was my time, and that I needed to give it a try. And it was time to jump into Queen of the World because there was just so much about it that appealed to me. And it turned out to be, it was my year, because I won the Mrs. Queen of the World USA title. So that is as short of a story as I can make my pageant journey. And it's not done yet, because I get to compete again on the international level, which is completely new to me. This is truly an international pageant. Women are coming from all over the world. And so when I think about it, I'm just so humbled to represent USA with all of these women that are coming from all around the world. So it's a very amazing culmination of a pageant career.
That's to say in the least. And along the way, you also had the chance to, like you were saying, be not only a director, but you've also been a coach and a life coach.
Yes.
Tell me how that has played into your journey.
So the life coach thing was never something that I thought would become a career. Back in the pandemic, when we all found that we had a lot of extra time on our hands, right? I am a lover of self-development. I think I said that, and with 2 teenage daughters and a lot of downtime, I thought, what can I look for? And life coaching kept coming up. And I thought that is probably a great way to prep myself to raise 2 teenage daughters, because they were young. They're now 17 and 19, but they were younger then. And so I really just did the whole life coaching school certification, all of that, just for me, because I love all things. I'm a self-development nerd, really. Okay. So, and then when I had that certification, about a year or so later, an opportunity became available to become a coach with Win a Pageant, and that was the exact, along with my experience, that was really the skill set that Alicia was looking for to bring on to Win a Pageant, was a life coach. So it was one of those things that everything just worked out step by step to guide me to become, pageantry's always been my thing, and I really do feel like it's my life's work. It's now my career, but it's always been a huge part of my life, and I really do see it as my life's work to help other women. A lot of the women that I coach aren't in pageants. They have other goals in mind. They might enter a pageant along the way, but that might not be part of their plan. We coach women in pageants and out of pageants, and it's been an amazing experience to see how the whole thing full circle with all the experience, then just me being that self-development nerd, life coach, how it all worked together to create this perfect career for me.
How did being, as you were saying, like the epitome of a runner-up, the runner-up queen, how does that play into being a life coach and being a stellar pageant coach?
I think it helps because I don't really think there's an emotion out there that I haven't felt as a contestant. You know, I've felt the high of hearing my name called. I've been very blessed to hear my name called several times now, right? But I've also heard my name called as first runner-up. I've also heard my name called as second runner-up. And then there have been times when I have not heard my name called at all. So I know all of those emotions, and I've learned to use it as a self-development tool to show up better the next time. And just because I won doesn't mean that I can't show up better the next time, right? So wherever you place, there's always room to grow. And so I think because of my personal experience, whether my clients are super, super happy because they won, or they are just devastated because they didn't, or the outcome wasn't what they wanted, because not everyone enters a pageant to win. There's all kinds of reasons that we enter a pageant. So I'm able to empathize with them in whatever it is that they're feeling, because I really think I felt it all. I felt the excitement. I remember my college days being in the dressing room with my best friend. We had gone out of town for one of those Miss Tennessee prelims, and we were the last ones in there for whatever reason. It was just one of those moments, and I remember just throwing a shoe and crying. I was so mad, like, let's be real, and no, I was probably 18, 19 years old at that point, right? So, like I remember all of those emotions of being like really upset and understanding, like thinking, am I not good enough to do this? What did I do wrong? And it's typically not any of that. It might just not be your time, or you might have to develop a certain skill set so that when you do win, you're ready. You're ready to take on the title. If I had won one of those prelims, one of the very first of the 13, I definitely wouldn't have placed at Miss Tennessee, right? I would have been there, and I would have been a contestant, but I wouldn't have done as well as I did. So there's growth in it, and there's learning all about who you are as a person and what you want out of life. There's so much to gain from it other than just a crown. And so that is really what I bring to the table. I think one of the things that I bring to the table as a coach, just that empathy.
I think a lot of young women walk into pageantry, or I not even young women. I think women who have never competed in a pageant, whether it's they're starting at 10 or they're starting at 110. You can literally be at any age, as we've now discovered, and any
Yes,
marital status and compete in a
I love
pageant.
it.
What do you think the most common myth is that you run into when you're first chatting with a contestant that maybe is new to the pageant world?
That's a good question. A myth. I think there's so many. I think
Or
I
maybe a
think
misunderstanding?
misunderstanding. Yeah, I think for those of us that have been in the industry for a while, and or even there are a lot of women that just jump in and win their first pageant, but they've typically put in a lot of life work behind the scenes, maybe not in pageants, but a lot of life work, where they see those wins and it looks so easy because of all the behind the scenes work that they put in. It looks really easy on stage. So they think, oh, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go win. And they might be that win that first time around, but I think the misunderstanding is how much work it can take behind the scenes to really know yourself backwards and forwards, and know what you stand for and who you are and what you want out of life and what you want to do with the title. There's so much to it, from a mental and even an emotional standpoint, that I'm not sure that a newbie we make it look really easy. We make it look really easy because we put in all the behind the scenes work and no one knows that. So I think that might be my first thought of a misunderstanding is how much work it really takes.
I recently competed in a state pageant, and during like the check-in kind of speech that the director was giving, she mentioned butt glue, and some of the newbies went, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And the woman that was sitting next to me had never heard of it before. Just the sheer like deer in the headlights glazed look came across her face, and I was like, "Don't worry, you've got a bunch of people that have been here
Yes.
before. We got you covered." And she was
Yes.
like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yes. It's those little things that you don't know until you get backstage and you see people with the butt glue and you're like, what is that? You're like, oh, that's why those swimsuits look so perfect. See, we make it look easy. We make it look perfect because we have these tricks like butt glue. Who would have thought, right? And and fashion tape and all these things to make our outfits look just right. And so that's what makes it look easy. Yeah, we've got all these tricks and we have to share them. Like there's no reason to keep it to ourselves. We have to share it. And like one can of butt glue will last you a lifetime. You might as well share it. Nobody needs to. I still have the same can from I don't know how long.
It seriously, I don't think it's like you could. It's like the stuff that you find in the tombs in Egypt. That stuff is gonna last forever.
Yes. Yes.
You will
So
find it in the pageant
share,
girl
yes.
tomb,
Yeah,
and it will
share with
still
the
be useful.
newbies. Yeah, share with the newbies. There's no point in hoarding that stuff
No,
away.
it's absolutely ridiculous. So tell me kind of about the moment that you were crowned in January. You obviously have had quite the journey to get to this point, as we've discovered, being the runner-up queen, and now you actually have had the chance of being Mrs. Tennessee, and now you get to be Mrs. Queen of the World USA, which is on its own I think, an even higher level than what you've experienced before. Tell me about that moment, that crown sitting on your head. What went through your mind?
It was really a very surreal moment because I had been in pageantry for so long and experienced every high and every low. When I am not in a pageant, you know, being in this industry for so long, working in the industry, I can watch a pageant and I can typically see like, oh yeah, she's going to be in top five. She's going to be in top five. Like I'm a really good predictor and I have a really good record of picking top fives and winners and all that. But being in the pageant myself, I was like in a fog. I could see nothing. It was very interesting to me that knowledge that I had for everyone else, I could not see for myself. So it was a very surreal moment because I'd actually, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years and this was my first national title. And so hearing my name called was an amazing experience. And I had a friend on stage that also won the elite title. So being crowned alongside a friend and then being crowned by a friend that I had known for years, it was one of those moments that had been knit. I felt like it was just knit together just for me in a way that I never thought I could. I couldn't have. I couldn't have like thought it up myself if I had dreamed it. Right. So it was just one of those amazing moments that I am so thankful for. My family was not able to come with me. They're coming with me this time in New York. So I'm thrilled that they're going with me. So it was one of those surreal moments, but they weren't with me. So I'm so excited that they are coming with me this time just to be able to experience, for them to see Queen of the World and be a part of that, to have my daughters with me and my husband with me. It was, I'm just very, very thankful for the experience, very humbled. I don't take it for granted because I work so hard for it. And it, yeah, I'm just thankful.
Now, as you're
Mhm.
preparing for the international level, faith is a really big part of who you are in your
Yes.
pageantry journey.
Mhm.
what are you doing to incorporate that into your current title and also into kind of keeping you grounded as you prepare for the international pageant?
How is my faith involved in all of this? Well, I really, I really feel like this is not necessarily, well, Queen of the World USA is definitely part of my calling, right? I feel like I have felt like for a long time, especially being a coach, that this is truly what I am called to do, to just help other women. It's not really about me. It's really about helping other women achieve their dreams, whether it's a pageant or writing a book or doing a podcast or whatever their legacy project is. That's really what it's about to me. So my faith kind of grounds me in that, because I know that God is guiding me to guide those women to whatever their dream is. And so it's really fun about it. Like, the biggest perk of the job is, like, every time a client writes a book or starts their podcast or wins the pageant or whatever, like, I feel like I've won all over again. I feel like it's my win too, because I've been alongside them. So that is, I guess that's the best way to describe it. I just know that this is my calling, and being Queen of the World USA is a huge piece of this. You know, regardless of what happens at the international pageant, I'm just thankful to be a part of it. And of course, I want to win, right? You know, sometimes, you know, I did say that not everybody wants to win. Yes, I would love to be back on here with you in a couple of months talking about the international win. You know, like, but at the same time, it's about the women that I meet. It's about the women that I encounter coaching on off the stage, that I'm called to meet and help in whatever way I'm called to help them. So taking the focus off of me is really what it's all about. And I think I've mentioned that to my clients before. When we take the focus off of ourselves and put it on the project that we're called to do, that's when things start to happen on and off the stage. So it's not really about me. No, it's fun. I love getting dressed up and doing all the things, but it's really more about the women that I encounter than anything.
So you kind of just touched on this, but you yourself recently launched a book, The
I
Queen Code.
Yes, it's kind of right back there. You can't really see it because my chair's too high, but it's right back there. Yes, I did.
And you talk about what you call the 5 key traits for building a winning mindset.
Mhm.
What inspired you to write that book? And what do you hope people take away from it most?
You know, I have noticed over the years, probably let's say the last 5 years, and this would entail coaching. It would entail judging on international levels. It would even my own competing, like every aspect of my involvement in pageantry. I've noticed key traits of winners, and that's really what inspired it. I noticed common threads of how winners show up and their mindset. And I didn't want to keep that a secret, because they're not difficult things to implement in your life, but I think they're often missed or not taken seriously. So that's what inspired the book, is that we can all show up with a winning mindset. We just some people, we just need a little help. I know I needed this book in my college days. I would have, might not have had to enter 13 prelims if I'd figured some of this stuff out earlier, but it's just kind of a culmination of all the things that I've learned. And I'll say it's my first book, because there's not just 5, but that's the 5 that I started with. It was really based on a workshop that I did for a pageant about, I guess it's been about a year and a half now. I put together this workshop, and I knew that there was something I was supposed to do with it. I just didn't really know what. And I would much rather work on someone else's legacy project than my own. So I kind of put this workshop, this PowerPoint thing, to kind of put it on the shelf, and I was like, that's some good stuff, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And then late in 2024, at some point in 2024, I knew what I was finally supposed to do with it. So about 6-8 months later, I knew, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to put this into a book, and it's my first book. because I know I'm getting some God hints on what the next book is. In fact, that's been actually happening in the last couple of weeks as I'm preparing, thinking about what's going to go in the next one, which will probably still be the Queen's Code. Maybe Queen's Code Volume 2. Not sure. I haven't even written it yet. I don't have a title yet, but there's more to come on that for sure. And yeah, so that was I always thought about writing a book, but again, just poured myself into other people to make sure that they wrote their book and their podcast and all the things. So it took a lot of self-discipline to sit down and write one myself.
So, you talk a lot about the idea of self-discipline.
Mhm.
Is that one of those 5 keys?
In a way, I think that's probably like an overarching theme. A lot of it is just your mindset and how you show up, knowing that you can do it. But then there's also simpler things like meeting your deadlines. I used to be a director, and I know how those deadlines, I didn't set the deadlines to be annoying. I set the deadlines because I had deadlines of things that I had to do. And I think sometimes as contestants, we get so wrapped up in all of the things that we're doing, we forget about all the things that the director is doing and all of the work that she has. So like just one of the key traits is talking about meeting deadlines and going into detail about why that's important. So they're very simple things, but they're often overlooked. Like, oh, I know that's due this day, but I'm sure she'll give me an extension. Well, a lot of times she can't, and so I talk about things like that because especially if you're new in pageantry, you might not know those things, or even if you've been in pageantry for a while, you might not take a lot of that seriously. So it's key concepts like that again that they're just often really overlooked that separate the winners from the girls that almost win, but they're the runner-up queens. So,
So, you talk a lot about, how you show up off stage
mhm,
is just as important as how you
mhm.
show up on stage. So for you, how do you define success beyond the crown?
Well, writing the book for one thing, and then thinking beyond that of okay, what's next, because I know that God is calling me to do even more things in pageantry. Um, so there's that was a huge success moment for me when I finished the book, uploaded it, got it published, received my first author's copy in the mail to like check it out to see what it was like. I also have a workbook that I had published last year on. I am a big fan of vision boards and have done vision boards for years, and that's really how when I look back at like my cancer diagnosis and my chronic illness and all of that, vision boards and a specific template that I created for myself really helped pull me out of the trenches. And so that's what my workbook is based on, is this 3-step process of pulling myself out of the trenches. And I thought if this helped me, then perhaps it can help other people. So I also published a workbook earlier in 2024 and then published the Queen's Code. The Queen's Code was actually published February of 2025. So those are big success moments for me because, again, it's not, most of this I don't believe is about me, but I know that there are messages that I am given that I have to get out to the world of pageantry. So I take time to develop those projects and get them out. So that's the biggest success piece to me. Of course, now I'm not sure you can see it, that beautiful crown sitting right in front of my book. Now that was a success moment, but the book and everything that's going to come from the book in 2025 and on is really what success is to me.
So you define that as success, but for you, you also talk about leaving a legacy, and you yourself talk about being, helping other women build a brand
Mhm.
around their own legacy.
Mhm.
Personally, what do you want your legacy to be?
For women to not give up. And I know that that is probably a legacy that a lot of a lot of women want to leave. I think mine gets personal when you hear 13 prelims, and I didn't give up. And in that process paid for so much of my college education and created this skill set. I would never have had my corporate career of traveling around and doing presentations if I hadn't had all of that experience over and over again because I didn't win. You know, that is I think that's one piece that is so important to my journey.
So beyond your pageant crown and beyond your legacy of helping other women, you're also helping teenage girls because you've got two of them at home. How do you balance being a mom and a wife and a pageant title and an author and a business owner? Like, how do you balance all of it?
It gets interesting. Now, my husband loves to be a part of this in whatever way, I want him to be a part of it. Like we were all in different directions in January. We were all in when I competed at Mrs. Queen of the World USA, we were all in different states, all four of us. But I also knew that it was my time, and so I needed to go. Um, and as my children get older, windows of opportunity are opening like that because they're now 17 and 19. I have a junior in high school and a freshman in college. So 5 years ago, that window of opportunity wasn't open the way that it is now. So that does help the balance some. But my husband loves to be a part of it. He and my youngest daughter are going to the pageant. Hopefully my oldest can come too, but she's in the middle of finals. And, pageantry it's just who I am. I think it's just part of my life. It's just who I am. It is my day job, right? I coach mostly during the day, during office hours. And so that is that balance there. My husband and I both work from home. So that's I think a lot of people worked at home during COVID and then have gone back, but we've always worked from home. We've always worked from home. So it didn't really change for us much. So the balance now, finding the time to like sit down and actually do my book and do the workbook and all that did take like, okay, Trinity, like you want to do this. So like, let's sit down and do this and not get sidetracked by going to walk the dog or in time blocking. I had to practice what I preach with my vision board workbook. It's called Called to Thrive, your purpose defined. I truly had to like utilize what I was teaching other people. I had to do it myself and set those microscopic goals of saying, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this and that. And when you do that, you get it done. So that's where I find balance is in the vision boards and then the templates that I've created to get those goals created. I have an amazing husband that loves to be a part of whatever I do and supports it all. And then I have teenage daughters that are mostly pleasant. They're incredibly talented, amazingly smart, and mostly pleasant to me and their father. so they're
Sounds
supportive
like
as
teenagers.
yeah, so they're very supportive as well and do love watching me on stage. So that is always fun to see them in the audience. To see them, especially when they were little. Now, I remember one time I was competing in a pageant, they were asleep in the audience. I was not entertaining to them at all.
That's hilarious.
Yes,
I love that.
yes, they were little. They were probably 8 and 9. This was early on in the pageant journey. They were not impressed. Now they stay awake and they watch and they cheer and they've got their own list of, okay, we think they're top 10 where they've got it. I've kind of trained them along the way. They've only done one pageant themselves. I don't know if they'll do pageants, later on in college. But yeah, I've trained them well. They're pretty good at pageants as well.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty funny. Uh,
Yeah.
so you just talked about the fact that you have teenagers and that you are used to, I guess you could say working
Yes.
with teenagers, managing teenagers. But
Mhm.
what advice do you have for women that might be in their 30s? I personally myself
Mhm.
am now 30, and I don't know how I got to 30, but here we are. But I'm still trying to figure out, okay, I'm 30, how do I compete at 30? Or even women in their 40s, but they feel like it's too late to compete in pageants or to even win their first title, what do you have to say to them?
It's never too late. Pageantry is changing so much, and I love it. Love it. There are pageants for every age group. You know, it's not too late to start in your 30s. I think that is the perfect time because you probably got a much better idea of who you are and what you want out of life and what you want to do with the title than perhaps when you were 20. I know I didn't know. I didn't know. So I'm just speaking from personal experience from that. So I think 30s, 40s, even we have women in our program that are in their 70s. So pageantry has changed so much for the better because it's so inclusive now of marital status, of age. Like it's never too late. I mean, if you're 50 something, 60 something, and you want to go enter your first pageant, do it. There is a pageant out there for everyone. I think it's the best self-development tool out there for women. I think I say that every day. People probably get tired of me saying it, but I really believe it. It's the best self-development tool out there, and it's fun. You get to meet amazing, like-minded women. There's so much to gain from it. Like the crown is amazing, right? Everybody, I mean, a lot of women that enter want to win, but even if you don't, there's so much to gain. I have made some of my best friends through pageantry that I never would have met had I not made that first leap to enter my first Mrs. pageant. So there's so much to gain from it. There's really, I can't think of one reason not to give it a try. I just can't. So just do it. Find your system. Find your system. There's a system for everybody. Find your system and just do it. And you're going to love it. That's what I have to say.
I'm give that my massive stamp of approval and
Thank
absolutely
you.
agree. Heck yes. Not that you need my stamp of approval, but like absolutely yes.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Can we get that like on a t-shirt? Can
I
we
think
like
we
do we need that?
should.
Like just put that
Yeah.
on the back of a sweatshirt or something?
Yes. I think we should. Let's work on that.
Instead of the Nike just do it, like a pageant just do
Yeah.
it. Uh
Yes. Jump in. Jump in. It can be scary, but just jump in.
agree.
Yeah.
So beyond the title, because at some point we all have to give up our crown and sash, even if it just goes in a box on our shelf. What do you want people to remember about Trinity Pearson?
But I continued on, that I did win a crown, but I helped so many more women win their crowns than ever crossed my mind of me personally winning. That's what I really want to be known for. That I helped other women win their crowns, their books, their podcasts, their marathons, whatever it is that they want to do, that I was the one that helped to push them along to achieve those goals.
I love it.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure you have plenty to do given your extraordinarily busy schedule. So we are going to play a quick game of
Okay.
this or that to
Oh,
wrap
boy.
everything up. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I think so. We'll see.
Okay. Jumpsuit or cocktail dress?
I love jumpsuits. Love jumpsuits.
All right,
I
that's
do.
fair. Natural glam or full glam?
What's natural glam? I think probably full glam. I mean, well, I only get full glam like on occasion. Like that's not real life. So this is a hard one for me because I'm mostly in like mom wear, like and then, when I'm working with a client, like I am all in. Like I probably got like messy bun, I've got my notepad, I'm taking notes, like so probably just full glam at pageants and then just real life the rest of the time.
I can get behind that.
I put in the work. Yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird. Not too early though.
So like halfway there, early bird.
Halfway there. Yeah, I'm not very good at this game. Sorry.
Mid morning bird.
Mid morning. My husband would say she's neither. She's in bed by 9 and she doesn't like to wake up. So
That's I can
again,
relate to that.
I'm not good at this game. So
I'm not either. I'm like option C. What's that?
I know.
Netflix or Hulu?
Hulu. We finally signed up for Hulu. We had cable forever until our cable service said you have to go to streaming. They took away our cable box. We had no idea. Like, we were the people that still have the cable box. Okay, we were like, we don't know what to do without this cable box. Like, then this was just like a year ago. But now that I have Hulu, I love it. So the cable company lost a customer and they pushed us over to Hulu, and now we love it. We're not going back.
I am absolutely here for it. Are you more of a phone call or text message type?
Text. My sister queens, if they're watching, they're like, oh my goodness, amen. Yes, she's a texter. A lot of them talk every day, and I'm just texting. Yes.
Again, can totally relate. Are you more of a city or country girl?
I am a Tennessee girl. I am Southern. I do live in the city in Tennessee, but I'm still Southern.
Still love your country?
I do. Yep.
Gold or silver accessories?
I wear both, but I really wear more gold right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you like a firm believer in the whole it needs to match your undertone, that sort of situation?
No, I just, it depends on my mood. Like, I have certain necklace stacks that I love to wear that are gold, and then I have certain stacks that are silver that I love to wear. I've been leaning more towards gold. My wedding ring is white gold, but most of my earrings that I wear are yellow gold. So I guess I'm both, but I do lean more towards like gold jewelry stacks right now. It's my thing right now.
Planning or going with the flow?
Definitely planning. I don't like going with the flow. I mean, I wrote a workbook on vision boards and planning. So,
Yeah, you got me on that one. Okay,
yeah.
never mind. Save or spend?
I'm 3 weeks out from a pageant, so my husband's probably watching and he's screaming downstairs, say, spender. So yeah, I'm the spender. He's the saver.
And last but not least, my favorite, sneakers or stilettos?
Sneakers. I love my tennis shoes. I do, and I have a lot of them that go with all different kinds of outfits. Yes, so I accessorize my tennis shoes with my outfits. Yes, but I will get out the stilettos for pageants. Please don't be concerned.
Breaks out high heel sneakers.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, where can we follow you on your journey to Miss Queen of the World International?
Well, my Instagram is Mrs. Trinity Pearson, and then you can also follow me at a new page that I just started just for the Queen's Code, and it is the Queen's Code Official. It's a newer page, but it has all the good stuff on there for the Queen's Code.
Yay! Thank you so much for spending your evening with me. It was a joy to get to know you, and I cannot wait to cheer you on in just 3 short weeks at Miss
Yes.
Queen of the World.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was lovely to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. Everyone, please go follow Mrs. Trinity Pearson. She's going to be competing for Mrs. Queen of the World in 3 weeks. Good luck. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.